Hi, I'm Katie Murray,
And I'm Andy Watts
and this is Undercover.
with INSTANDA.
Whether you're starting your day with us,
Or winding your day down.
it's a great time to peek behind the curtain of the lives of insurance innovators. Who are they? What gets them up in the morning to revolutionize insurance? What makes them tick?
And today we are very privileged to be joined by Jenny Bortman, President of Universal Insurance Programs. Thank you so much for joining us, Jenny.
Thank you, Andy and Katie. It's great to be here.
Yeah, terrific. Tell us about your background and how you got into the insurance industry.
Well, whether I like it or not, insurance is in my blood. I grew up at the agency. My mom was a single mom, and so on breaks and holidays and everything in between, I would come into the office, and then I started earning some money, which, who doesn't like to do that? And so I worked in the file room. We had a file room with lots of paper files, and it was based off the Dewey Decimal System. So I was in charge of organizing it, and every couple of months I'd come in and make sure it was in order because we had an operations manager back then that was super strict. And then we got QR codes, and that was like revolutionary. And I would work on faxing projects, and it was before you could do mass faxes. And so it was one piece of paper at a time. And then I started doing some data entry, and like my mind was blown about like everything my mom was doing. And I would start traveling with her, and I was amazed about like what insurance could do and how you were protecting people's assets. And as I got older, I went off to college and I got my degree in math and science. And I was gung ho after graduating. And I was like, I'm going to come back to the family business.
Right.
And lucky enough, my mom said to go spread my wings. And I did. I worked at Nestle Purina for about 3 years. I was in their veterinary sales, and it was like a perfect combination because I loved animals and I loved talking to people. And so it mirrored that research and development aspect that I was so passionate about with animals that I love so much. And I'm pretty competitive in nature, and I started at the bottom of the barrel of this big corporate company. The veterinary division of Nestle is fairly small, but I was 53 out of 53, and I just put on my big girl pants, and I was like, you know what? I am going to crush it, and I'm going to be the number one salesperson at the end of the year. And I listened to my husband, now my boyfriend at the time, his recommendations, because he was in pharmaceutical sales as well. And he's like, just focus on your top tier clients, and then you'll get more growth from them. And so
Right.
I listened to him. And I just was traveling all the time, and I focused on educating the vet techs and the veterinarians, and just really listened to all of the training and corporate tools that Nestle brought for us. And week after week, I started climbing up the ranks. And by the end of the year, I was number one for growth and third for sales. And I was just loving life. And I was like thinking, I don't know if I'm going to come back to the family business. This like
This
corporate
is
world
great.
is kind of cush. Yeah. Like, it's a guaranteed paycheck, and you get a company car, and they pay for traveling. And then like a couple years go by, and my husband's like, I want to start a family. And we were living in Las Vegas at the time. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, if we're going to start a family, like we got to move back to Phoenix. And so I approached my mom, and I was like, Mom, I know you wanted me to spread my wings, and I'm loving it here, but I think I'm ready to come back to the family business and move back to Phoenix. And she's like, okay, let's go.
Awesome. She was ready.
She was ready. And that was the September will be 18 years. And it has just gone by so quickly. I just can't believe it. And, of course, trying to prove my way along the journey. I started as an account executive and I was working on small business accounts and I thought it was great. Like I was helping tanning salon operators secure their business. And after every bind, I'd say, congratulations, you're now insured. And people were like, I've never had somebody when you're doing an insurance transaction say congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah.
And so I just was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I started in 2007 and then everything went to hell in a handbag with
Oh,
the
yeah.
economy and
Yeah.
the tanning industry, and the World Health Organization was making these radical changes for the tanning industry. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just left this cush job for the family business. Like, what was I thinking? I was like, no, that, I don't have this poor me mentality. We're go-getters and we're winners in our family. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to come up with a marketing plan for mom and present it to her. And I'm going to not say, let's pull back when times are tough. I'm going to be the face of the industry. And so I became a road warrior for indoor tanning. And I went to every convention and I met the manufacturers and the distributors and the lenders. And I was like, you know what? We're going to change this mentality that insurance is boring and let's be the face of it. And we just, in like the worst of times, slowly but surely, we started growing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a fabulous time when everybody else is, retracting, we're being forward facing and just like learning about the different nuances of the coverages they needed. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's expand, not in just tanning, let's go into salons and spas and like expand our verticals within this one market. And so we started going into salons and spas, which that universe is even bigger than tanning. And whether I like it or not, tanning is in my DNA. I live and breathe it. And I even dream about it. Like the other night, I had a dream that we were like at a company event and we were just like going down sleighs. And I'm like, oh my God, like, why am I still dreaming about insurance? I leave the office and I can't stop thinking about it.
Follows you nonstop.
It does follow me nonstop. So my background of math and science, how it relates to insurance, I don't know necessarily that it goes hand in hand, but when you can go through those kind of courses and the due diligence and the effort, I feel like those can be transferable skills. And then obviously the intention and the hard work and the perseverance that my mom provided me are, unmatched and unparalleled, and the cornerstone of what's made me go through this amazing trajectory of now being the president of the company.
That's incredible, Jenny. So awesome to hear, and congratulations to you working your way up in sales. That's super exciting.
Yeah, I am a little competitive.
Hey, I think that's all of us, right? So that's a great thing. That's what keeps us moving. Jenny, I know you're super busy, and I know you're on the go all the time. So tell me, when you're not in the office, like, where could we find you?
Well, in the mornings, I am doing the hustle bustle of a
Yes.
working mom and getting, the kids' breakfast and lunches and just starting our day off with success. And I am pretty religious about working out. That is my way of
Yes.
de-stressing and re-energizing and getting like my mojo ready for the day. And so a good morning is always started with a good workout. And it's kind of, I say kids ready for school. Our son, as of August of last year, just got accepted into a soccer academy or football academy over in Europe.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's phenomenal. So we just got back. We landed Monday at 1 a.m. in the morning from visiting him. And so, our downtime now, if we've got a big tournament coming up, we're heading somewhere in Europe to watch him play. He's only 13 years old. So this is like still kind of new and foreign to us. So next month, I'll be heading to Spain to visit him, playing over in Barcelona, which is pretty cool.
That is
And
awesome.
then, Yeah, and our daughter, she's 12, and she is very into dance. She dances, 5 to 7 days a week, and she's in competitions and conventions. And so, between that and her schedule and trying to have some, date nights with my husband and
Yeah.
working the crazy hours, it's like I'm in such a normal routine, but then every day it just like throws me for a curveball of going here, there, and everywhere. And so I've just realized as our days get filled that you just have to be flexible and
Yeah.
go with the punches. And even as rigid as I like to be, like I've got my time set by minute by minute. Like my daughter, if she's not out the door by 7:15, like things are going awry. Like
Right.
literally I'm like so dialed in. And like if we leave at 7:14, it's like, all right, like we're a minute ahead of schedule. Like it's gonna be a fabulous day. But then like everything like happens at the office, or she's sick, or this happens. It's like, okay, take a deep breath. We got to pivot. We got to be nimble. Let's go. But
Yes.
yeah, it's always something new.
It
That
is.
sounds like a whirlwind existence you have, Jenny. Obviously, I also get the feeling the kids are, your children are important. And hey, Barcelona football. That sounds, terrific.
Go PSG.
PSG.
Mm-hmm.
He's part of Paris Saint-Germain, is he? In
Yes.
Paris? Yeah, right. Wow. See, they knocked my team out last week. I went to see PSG at Anfield.
Oh, you were at the game.
I was at the game. So we got kicked out. But congratulations to PSG. They were terrific, by the way. And their supporters were fantastic. They were very good. All right. I wasn't quite expecting that, but that's fabulous. I seem to get these unexpected conversations about football or soccer, as you would be, from whenever we're having these sessions. It's terrific. It's certainly a global sport.
It is a global sport that I'm learning more and more about. Like I used to watch it back in the day, like because my husband likes it, and I'm like, it's 0-0. And he's like, yeah, but what's American football? It's, 14-7. These are make-believe numbers. Like a goal is a goal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then celebrated as such. Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. So, Jenny, what's think about a defining moment in your career that's shaped you into the leader you are today?
Oh, wow. Well, our timing is kind of crazy because March 19th, 2012, so 13 years ago, is when I became partner with my mom. And that was one of like the largest milestones because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really have skin in the game at this family business. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, once you have skin in the game, like pressure is on, like people's salary and the lights and the rent and the electricity and all of these responsibilities that were 100% mom, like we're sharing that now. But you also get all of the successes of watching your team grow and hit their own milestones and the career development and the carrier relationships. And so that was like the start of me just having my eyes wide open to like kind of ironic universal. The universe is like our like oyster and we can just make this company grow. And so at that time, I was like, Mom, I have really big dreams for the company. And she's like, all right, let's go. And so we came up with a business plan, and we realized at that time that we needed additional partners and support to get to the level that we wanted to be. And in 2015, that's when we actually sold the majority interest of our company. But with that, we got some amazing partners. And that really, since 15, so the past October will be 10 years, has catapulted our growth for double digits year after year, like 20% growth for the past 10 years, which has been absolutely high speed, fast. Sometimes you stumble along the way, but that that was like another milestone that just really was a trajectory of our agency. And like we were talking about how back in the day we talked about premium and $2,000 accounts and how they all add up and they're sticky. Well, now we're working on multi-million-dollar binds, and it's like, oh my gosh, like sometimes I have to take a moment to step back and be like, all right, this is where we were. Like what we do in a month is what the agency used to do in the year. And it's like, okay, our employees, we were 4 or 5, and now we're, not only in Arizona, but we're in California and Washington and New York, and we have a team in the Philippines and in China, so that we can be, this amazing like 6-day, 18-hour workday. And it's like, okay, like this is like, holy moly, things are rocking and rolling. But going back to your question on milestones, like, so then 15 happens, the growth is going crazy, like our partners are amazing, we're just doing things right, and getting into the self-storage industry, which was a passion of my mom from the early 2000s. And it's actually where she cut her teeth in niche market insurance. And so then we had this other program rocking and rolling come in 16. And then we realized in 2015, when we came up with our partners and our operating agreement, that when my mom hit 70, it was her plan. She was going to retire and sell her shares. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this has happened so much faster than what we were expecting. Like how is it, almost 2 years ago, how is she turning 70? And so then we decided, well, we're going to have to find her replacement. And mom just assumed that I would want it. And I was like, well, I am not the kind of person that is served a silver platter. Like I've got to earn it. And what does it mean if we earn it? And I want to interview other people to make sure I'm the right person, because I've got the employee hat on, because I was the vice president at the time, but I have my partner hat, and I've got to do what's right for both sides of the house. And our other business partners were like, why are we interviewing other people? I'm like, I have to go through this exercise to make sure that there's not a better fit. And some of the things that mom was doing, I was just not interested in. And we realized that that's okay. That's not what the president of this growing agency needs. And so we come up with all of these duties and responsibilities. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this role. This sounds fabulous. I want this role.
Yes.
And so then I decided to officially interview for the position. And thankfully, the partners elected me as the president. And so that's probably my most recent big milestone, is taking it on May of 2 years ago.
That's incredible.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
What a milestone. There's that competitive nature again. So Jenny, as you know, March is International Women's Month, and it's incredible that you and your mother got to enjoy this milestone together as we came into this. Tell me a little bit about what International Women's Month means to you personally.
So our family's kind of funny. My husband says that every day is his birthday, and today he's 17,980 days old. And he literally has an app, and every day he's like, baby, it's my birthday. So while I love any reason to celebrate, you will even see I've got a press for champagne bell on my desk because I love celebrating. I think that, where my mom started her career 50 years in insurance, and, where women have come in that standpoint to me coming to conferences now, and it's just filled with, different, ethnicities and genders, and like it's just phenomenal where we've come. I think it boils down to hiring the right person for the right job, and hard work and perseverance. And when you build on those kind of qualities, whether you're male or female, it's all about, passion and drive, and then have fun while you do it. Right. And so I've been blessed to have this family business that I was so passionate about. And I'm hoping that my daughter follows in my footsteps. But I think it's important to reflect on the past and then also look forward to the future. And we have this family mantra that yesterday is the past, tomorrow's the future, today is a present, a gift from God. Bog, that's in Russian. That's my husband's from Ukraine. And so we say this mantra, and I think that's what life is all about, is being in the present and being thankful that we're here each and every day.
Yes. No, that's incredible. I follow you on social media, and I saw that your daughter and your mom were both at your kickoff roadmap for UIP. So that was awesome to
She
have you.
even got to skip school. She was so
Aw,
excited.
I bet she was. That's incredible. Well, that's
Jenny,
awesome.
you may be leading your family business, but I get the strong impression you're the best person in the world to be doing that job.
Thank you.
That's what I'm getting, which is, where we want to have a world where the right people are doing the right things, irrespective of who they are or what their background is, and that's terrific. So tell me a little bit about how INSTANDA has impacted on your business.
So, great question, because we are in the throes of INSTANDA right now. I'm very territorial, and I was probably pretty difficult when we were interviewing INSTANDA. I was asking all of the hard questions because we have a proprietary rating system that I helped build, and I absolutely love it. However, I knew that it was one of our biggest vulnerabilities because we have a single programmer who is absolutely brilliant, and I've known him for about 20 years now, and he helped us go from those paper files to going paperless back in the day, which was also another milestone. But anyways, I tasked Dennis Q, our head of IT, and I was like, we have to change our system. I love Gary and I love client control, but he always jokes what would happen if he got hit by a bus. I say, Gary, what I'm worried about is you're going to win the lottery and leave us. I'm not worried about you getting hit by a bus. All right. So yes, you might help us transition day one, day two, but you're going to take your $100 million and go off to like some beautiful place in Brazil or something and never come back. So how do we save the agency once you win that lottery ticket? And so Dennis, about 2.5, 3 years ago, started interviewing dozens of different IT companies that some did ratings, some did this, some did that, like some were file documents and agency management system. And we put everything that we wanted out there, but then we had to prioritize what was our biggest threat to the agency. So, we were close to working with some. Sometimes the carriers have recommendations, and those systems are even worse and antiquated. And it's like, oh my gosh, insurance isn't rocket science. Like, how can we fly people up to the moon, but we can't like rate a single location in 5 minutes and it takes an hour? And so we boiled it down, and we decided to go with INSTANDA because it was going to reduce our biggest vulnerability. And we realized that this was going to not be just a temporary fix, but this is going to be a long-term partnership. And so going through it right now, we still have some data in client control and some data in INSTANDA. And it's hard. It's difficult for the team to think about endorsement activities, like what system do I use? Or, oh my God, I missed this feature in our old system, and the premium feeds and the bordereaux and still using those. And like, do we put them together and do we do a data transfer? And so in the mix of it, not gonna lie, it's tough. But I tell my team, because we did our first program that's smaller, and then we're going to do our larger programs as we go on. And I'm like, to our tanning program folks, I'm like, think you got to be the first in, and 1 year you are going to be in heaven while everybody else is in that transition period. And so it's interesting because we are probably 80% the way there, but that last 20% is painful. But that's okay, because Gary Swindell, our lead programmer for client control, he's still very instrumental in the transition, and he's a very hard critic. It's his own system that he built, and not, at some point, his workload's going to get less and less. And he's like, you guys absolutely made the right choice. I have no doubt that this isn't going to be easy today or tomorrow, but year 3 and 5, with the growth that you guys want to have, this is the kind of system that you need to have in place. And so having that vote of confidence when we have like a difficult day, it's like, all right, okay, we're in this, we're okay. And then like yesterday we had a call with one of our carriers that is getting the feeds, and Dennis was on the call, and he's like, so how are the data feeds looking? Because I haven't heard anything. And he was thinking no news was like kind of scary, like they were going to like hit him hard. And they're like, oh, we haven't said anything because they're great. I was like, oh, wow, okay, this is going to be okay. And so, yes, some things are a little bit clunky, and we miss our routine and simplicity of knowing where everything is in our system and how to use things in client control. And, I could do it in my sleep. INSTANDA's not that today, but once we get into the routine and, knowing where to click and where buttons are and things to push, and what's also really cool is INSTANDA's team isn't just one person, but we have a whole team to support us. And they want to hear what's working, obviously, but they're all on board to hearing what needs to be changed or adapted or evolved to make the system better, not only for us, but also for their other programs that they're launching or currently have. And I feel like that's a really good partnership when you don't always just listen to what's going good, but realize where improvements can be made.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Jenny, going back to International Women's Month, so what advice would you give to a woman who's starting their about to start their industry or become a leader? Like, what would you tell them?
So do what you're passionate about.
Yes.
I'm passionate about insurance, but also, I feel like insurance gets a bad reputation, which drives me nuts, because we are protecting people's largest assets and everything that they work hard for and their biggest liabilities. And so if you think about it, insurance can be sexy, right? If you just look at it from a different perspective, and I always joke that we could have like a reality TV show called like $1 Million Binds, because the drama that happens, the behind the scenes work and the carrier relationships and the claims and the fires and the, God knows what happens behind these closed doors, or, here, or, with the weather that, so that's my passion. But when you have, drive and success and do what you say you're going to do, and, you work with people that you enjoy working with, that it will just layer up to all of those levels of success, and be yourself and authentic, and good things will come from it. And whether you're, male or female, as we're grooming our daughter, we're teaching her to be independent and courageous and ask questions, and don't just get like pigeonholed and this is what you're supposed to do. It's like, let's work hard and don't be intimidated by anything. And oh my gosh, that girl, like when I bring her to trade shows, the last trade show, she's like, Mama, I got offered 3 jobs and I'm 12 years old. I'm like, you go, girl. That's what we do in this house.
There you go. She'll be in your file room very soon.
Right. Oh yeah. No, she the other day, she's like, oh, Mama, I can help with LinkedIn. And I was like, LinkedIn? She's like, yeah, like this is how you accept people. I'm like, you don't even have profiles. She's like, it's just so easy.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Okay, then.
That's great.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I mean, I have a slight confession in my wife. She runs her own beauty salon, which she has done. And so when I'm looking at your website and the propositions that you provide, then strangely I'm doing it with a little bit of insight into what's kind of required. And I see peace of mind, UIP's peace of mind mantra, What does it mean to you, and how do you go about bringing that to life?
Well, insurance is just so clunky, and people don't know what their expiration date. And us insurance people are like, you don't know your insurance date? And then it's like, well, gosh, I don't know when my auto date is or this date. And so we had a business coach a couple of years ago, and he's like, every good business, yes, they have a mission and they have a vision statement and this and that, but they're long and they're wordy. And most people, they read it one time and they have this hoorah about it, but then it like loses steam. He's like, when you come up with a simple mantra and you live it and you breathe it, that just becomes the culture in the office. And so that I just thought about the words that meant so much to what we want to offer our clients and our staff and our carrier partners. And it's like, well, what do? We're there to help them sleep at night. And then that kind of evolved into, oh, okay, well, that's, yeah, we could use that, but you don't want tagline like here to help you sleep at night. And so then it like evolved and morphed, and then was like, oh, we want to give them peace of mind, but we don't want to just give them peace of mind. We want to do it so it's not clunky. And so that's where the tagline came from. And it's like literally I've got it on my background as my screen and my signature, and it's what I bring home. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to make a simple dinner because I'm going to give my family peace of mind while making life easy. And so like, it's literally what I'm trying to do in every aspect, is our team is working on growing with the agency and, expanding to the next level. It's like, well, how can we do this? Because yes, insurance is complex, but it's not complicated.
Yeah.
And so if we can just make it simpler and less steps and more efficient, then it's a win-win from all aspects of what we're doing.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Absolutely. And I love how it all ties together. So great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job.
Yes. So that's a wrap. Jenny, lovely to see you as always.
So
Thank you
good to
so
see
much
you.
for joining us today. We love the way
Absolutely.
that you're making insurance much easier, peace of mind. Yes. So until next time, this is Katie Murray.
And this is Andy Watts.
With Undercover.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Jenny.
Bye.